And that's where we begin today. An investigation is underway into one of the biggest Supreme Court leaks in its history.
Leaks are leaks. It's a shame that you have leaks, but leaks come often, so I'll comment on it.
Overnight, Politico publishing a piece including a draft opinion which, if finalized, would dismantle 50 years of precedent and pave the way for states to severely curtail abortion rights in the U.S. This is an ever-changing situation, updating by the minute. WMBD's Kyrian Lee has been following this story all morning long. She joins us live in the studio now with President Biden's response, along with members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. Kyrian.
Matt, in a release, officials from the Supreme Court of the United States confirmed the document described in the report is authentic. However, they say it does not represent a decision by the court or the final position of any member on the case. Supreme Court Chief Justice John G. Roberts releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "To the extent this betrayal of the confidences of the court was intended to undermine the integrity of our operations, it will not succeed. The work of the court will not be affected in any way," end quote. And President Biden is also weighing in on the Politico report, saying he believes that a woman's right to choose is fundamental.
The idea that it concerns me a great deal that we're going to, after 50 years, decide a woman does not have a right to choose.
Meanwhile, Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill are also sharing their input.
If this report is accurate, the Supreme Court is poised to inflict the greatest restriction of rights in the past 50 years, not just on women, but on all Americans.
The court should tune out the bad faith noise and feel completely free to do their jobs.
Now in Congress, Democrats tried and failed to pass a bill that would make abortion rights federal law. The Women's Health Protection Act passed the Democratic-controlled House last fall, but failed in the evenly divided Senate. CBS News reports overturning Roe v. Wade is likely to have a significant impact on this year's elections. Matt, back to you.
Kyrian, thanks. Illinois is among the states that will continue to provide abortions, even if the landmark decision is struck down. Governor Pritzker affirmed the state's position in remarks earlier this morning.
If this ruling stands, if they can reverse 50 years of settled law, then every Supreme Court decision that has made this country freer and fairer can be reversed by this court.
Governor Pritzker spoke while surrounded by the legislators that turned the Illinois Reproductive Health Act into law. The measure keeps abortions legal despite any Supreme Court decision. That could make Illinois a sanctuary state for those seeking abortions in neighboring states, which all have strict abortion laws on the books. Now, GOP gubernatorial candidates Jesse Sullivan, Darren Bailey, and Gary Rabine voicing the exact opposite position of Governor Pritzker. Jesse Sullivan said his family dropped to their knees and prayed in gratitude after the news dropped last night. Sullivan said under Pritzker, Illinois will be the, quote, abortion destination of the Midwest, making this race a matter of life and death, end quote. Darren Bailey saying in his own statement, quote, "I would help and promote policies and groups that help empower women with real options and save lives." Darren Bailey then said Illinois' laws are too extreme. Gary Rabine calling himself unapologetically pro-life, saying Roe v. Wade has, quote, allowed for the murder of thousands of unborn children, end quote. Rabine says he welcomes the court's reversal and that the Illinois and the United States must protect the rights of the unborn. But the question remains, who leaked the documents? U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says he doesn't condone the leaking of the documents and that he doesn't know who did it or why, but he spoke during the Senate Judiciary Committee meeting just hours ago. Here's part of what he had to say.
But I know that today, women and men across this country are grappling with the very real concern and, yes, the fear that they may lose a critical constitutional right in just a matter of weeks.
In other news, Rodney Davis, a congressman for the Illinois' 13th district, taking to Twitter, saying that he's long advocated to end the Roe decision, saying it was wrong from the beginning. But Davis raised concerns with the leak, saying, quote, This is nothing more than an attempt to intimidate the justices on this case and sway their opinion, end quote. U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth also tweeting, saying, quote, let's be clear, this is not the final, and the far-right majority will not have the last word. The American people will. Tonight, it's important we get loud, organize, and demand action from the Senate, end quote. And local congressional candidates are responding to the SCOTUS leak. 13th District candidate Jesse Rising says, quote, unborn children are among the most vulnerable members of our society and deserve our protection. But this leaked opinion is the highest breach of trust in the important relationship between a judge and their clerks and staff, end quote. On the other side of the aisle, Democratic congressional candidate Letisa Wallace for the 17th District says, quote, the extreme majority on the Supreme Court appears to be engaging in an attack on American women that undermines constitutional freedoms. Later, she said, quote, this is an existential moment for our democracy, with an out-of-control and unelected court advancing a morally bankrupt and woman-hating agenda, end quote. And we will continue to get reaction to this developing story throughout the day. You can find it all on our website, ciproud.com.